FileMaker also has the ability to validate for a range of values. That range could be dates, numbers, text, timestamps, basically any field type except containers. And of course it excludes calculations and summary fields because you can't really do data entry into them. So a range is similar to an ellipse. We did a find where we put the 3 dots in there, and we did a date range and a number range and a text range. Same idea. You can find all the dates between 2 dates, all the records that match that, or you can go ahead and say only allow dates within that range to be entered. And we're going to use an example of our date of birth. What we're going to do here is we're going to say we only want people to enter date of births between 1900 and 2030. The reason for that is we don't want somebody to accidentally enter 1849 because somebody's unlikely alive at that point, and this is a contact management system. We don't want something greater than 2030 because really there's nobody going to be born in the next 20 years, so it's going to be an errant value. So this will help us to make sure that the dates are, as we did before, the 4-digit year, as well as making sure it's in a proper range. So we'll go to Manage Database. There's our date of birth. And notice that when we click range, we can also still have this option. Sometimes when you check validation options, other ones will uncheck. In this case, we can have both of these on the same field. And we'll do 1/1/1900 to 1/1/2030. There we go. That looks pretty good. We'll click OK. Click OK again. And we'll see what we can do here. Let's try putting in 1840. Go to the next field. See, we have the revert field. That means that it happens when we tab or when we commit the record. We'll try reverting the field. Goes back to what it was. We'll try 2040. Click to another field. We see it gives us the same message, and you notice that it gives us that information from that validation. It makes it a little bit friendlier message here. And then if we try to go ahead and put, let's say, 1950, that should accept that. And it does. So that validation works great and will help us to get valid dates of birth. Let's go ahead and look at validating our postal code on a range. So let's go to Manage Database. Go find our postal code. Go into Options. And for right now, what we're going to do is concentrate on zip code fields. We're going to forget about postal codes like Canadian postal codes that have letters in it for right now. But we'll get back to validating for that. Don't worry. We'll make it work there. So we're going to do in range, and we're going to say something like 10,000 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 99,999. Let's see how that works. We'll go in here and we'll type in a 1. That seems to work. We'll revert the field. Let's type in a 2. Well, that didn't seem to work because there's no zip code with the number 2 on it. But FileMaker, since it's a text field and we put numbers into a text field, treats that number differently than if it was in a number field. So the number 1 and 10 and 11 and 1 million would all come before the 2. They would be sorted differently. So you've got to watch out about that, putting numbers into text fields. They don't quite work the same. So we need a better solution here. So let's go into Manage Database. We'll go find our postal code field. Go into Options and we'll uncheck this. Not a great choice for this situation. There's always many ways to approach a problem in FileMaker, and the more you know about it, the better choice you can make. A better choice, I think, is a member of a value list here. We don't have the value list, but we can quickly make one through here. Remember, that's the same as going to the File menu, Manage Value Lists. This is just quicker so we don't have to back out of these dialogues. So we'll come in here, click New, give it a name. We'll call it Postal Codes. And we could type in all the postal codes here, but that would take a long time and then we'd have to update it all the time. A better choice is use values from field. So we'll come in here, find the zips. Remember, when we set up zips, it was related to contacts. Now, we don't actually need the relationship here because value lists don't require that relationship. All they require is the index. They use that index to quickly look at all of the values inside that zips table and compare it to what you're entering to make sure it is in there. So we'll go to zips, choose zip, and that's it. It'll make a return separated list that it can check through. That's what the index looks like. So click OK, click OK, click OK. We're back here. We have member and value list postal codes. Click OK through all these dialogues. And now if we try to enter a 2, you notice that it tells us that's no good. Revert the field. So now we can go ahead and type in our proper zip code, and that'll work. And it'll also work with any type of postal code, whether it has letters or anything, just as long as you have it in your zip codes table, your postal codes table, and it can check against it, it'll work just fine.